Dame Dash once called Cameron his little brother. He managed him, signed him, and put millions behind his career. Then Dame publicly disowned him and hit him with a $300 million lawsuit. This is how the closest friendship in Harlem hip-hop became its ugliest fallout. Let's get into it. To understand how Dame ended up doing interviews from a Sprinter van, threatening $300 million lawsuits over sneaker lighting, you have to understand where these two actually came from. Dame Dash was Cameron's manager before either of them had a dollar. Back in the early 90s, they were both just kids trying to make it out of East Harlem. Cam was the standout point guard at a Manhattan Center high school until bad grades closed the door on college hoops. He turned to rap, forming the group called Children of the Corn with Mace and Big L, and Dame was the one managing them from day one. When the group fell apart after member Bloodshed died in a car accident in 1997, most people would have moved on. Dame didn't. He kept backing Cam even when Cam was so frustrated at his Epic Records deal that he reportedly trashed their office just trying to force his way out.
I did that for about 3 weeks straight. We smacked the computer over, kicked the garbage all on the floor, type of till it got to the point where Dame eventually came up there with me to Epic, and he's like, you should just let him go, bro. This is not gonna stop. So they ended up letting me go.
That loyalty is what made everything that came later so hard to explain. So, Cam is out of his deal and he needs a new home. He links back up with his older Harlem brother, Dame Dash, who is now sitting on top of the world as co-founder of Rockefeller Records, brings Cam and his Diplomat crew over to Rock for a massive $4.5 million advance. For a minute, it looks like a Harlem fairy tale. Cam's album Come Home With Me drops in 2002 and is a massive smash. Oh Boy and Hey Ma are everywhere, but behind the scenes, things are getting toxic fast. Dame wanted more power at the label, so while his partner Jay-Z was out of the country on vacation, Dame publicly floated the idea of promoting Cameron to vice president of Rockefeller. Jay-Z was completely against it and shut it down publicly in an interview with The Source. That one move basically split the label in two, the Brooklyn camp versus the Harlem camp. Eventually, Rockefeller collapsed entirely. Jay-Z took over Def Jam, and Cameron pragmatically moved his Diplomatic Records imprint over to Asylum Records to save his own career. Dame saw this as the ultimate betrayal, and it poisoned their relationship permanently. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, let YouTube know by hitting that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get back to the video. While fans and the media often point to the Rockefeller collapse and the Jay-Z beef as the main reasons these two drifted apart, the real root of their personal tension was much simpler: personality clashes. Cameron has been incredibly transparent about this, explaining that after years of working together, he just needed to take breaks from Dame's overwhelming and abrasive personality. Instead of picking up the phone and hashing out these communication breaks privately like men, Dame started taking his grievances directly to the internet, looking for public sympathy and complaining to the blogs. Cameron was completely turned off by this behavior. Fast forward to 2018, the internet practically broke when it looked like Dame and Cam were finally teaming up again for an independent movie directed by Dame called Honor Up. People thought the beef was finally over. It wasn't. Behind the scenes, the movie was a disaster. Dame's own cousin Stacey Dash was horrified to see herself in the promotional materials and publicly threatened to sue him on Twitter. Cam later admitted on his podcast that he felt completely strong-armed into doing the movie out of an exhausted sense of obligation. When it dropped, Cam refused to promote it at all. That silence ended their brief truce faster than any diss track could have. Now we hit the 2020s, and things go from bad to just straight up embarrassing. The spark that lit the final power keg was when 50 Cent acquired the rights to the 2002 cult classic movie Paid in Full to adapt it into a TV series, tapping Cameron to serve as an executive producer. Because Dame Dash was one of the original producers of the film through Rockefeller Films, he felt completely sidelined and personally disrespected by this power move. Dame went online and sarcastically congratulated Cam for making 50 Cent his new boss.
I want to congratulate him for making 50 his new boss. So congratulations, Cam. 50 is now your new boss, and you're proud of it.
Dame was so bitter that he later went on The Breakfast Club and claimed 50 Cent was capping about owning the rights, aggressively arguing, "No one has the rights. Who you gonna buy the rights from?"
I told you he doesn't have the rights. No one has the rights. Who are you gonna buy the rights from?
During that same explosive September 2025 Breakfast Club interview, Dame had an absolute meltdown. He baselessly called Charlemagne the god, gay, falsely claimed he was the new chairman of Revolt TV, and even threatened to sue the radio show for defamation because he thought they made his sneakers look dirty on camera. Cameron, now a massive sports media mogul with his show It Is What It Is, absolutely dismantled Dame on air. Cam exposed the Revolt TV lie, explaining that he was actually the one who offered Dame some TV slots as a favor, which Dame turned down. Revolt executives even released a statement confirming that Dame's claims were completely fabricated. Cam then went for the jugular, laughing at Dame for having dentures and telling him he fell off the Mount Rushmore of Harlem a long time ago. Humiliated, Dame retaliated by threatening Cam with a massive $300 million defamation lawsuit, claiming Cam cut him out of a lucrative pink meat cannabis deal and screwed him out of Dipset clothing line profits. Cam they just laughed it off as a fake ChatGPT lawsuit. He completely exposed Dame's underlying extortion attempt. Broadcasting on his platform, Cam revealed the receipts, breaking down exactly how Dame had demanded $1 million hush money payment to keep quiet before he ever threatened the lawsuit.
He tells Daniel to tell me, yo, tell Cam to give me $1 million and we might let it all go away. I'm like, you trying to quiet extort me? Like, what are you talking about?
The entire hip-hop community watched this unfold in real time. Fans and commentators called Dame's media run a masterclass in capping, and couldn't believe a hip-hop legend was resorting to extortion tactics against his former artist. In a crazy twist of fate, Mace got involved. Seeing that their former manager was drowning in debt and facing a $4 million default judgment over a movie called Dear Frank, Mace and Cam actually offered to buy Dame's remaining 1/3 stake in Rockefeller Records for a clean $1 million. They were genuinely trying to help him out and get him out of the negative news cycle, but Dame's ego wouldn't let him accept help. He turned the money down, claiming that rapper NBA Youngboy had already put up $2 million on the table for the shares. Of course, that phantom deal never materialized. 3 weeks later, Dame came crawling back to accept the original $1 million offer, but Cam was completely over the disrespect and the games. He coldly looked at the situation and delivered the final blow. The deal's off. If you thought it couldn't get worse, it got worse. Dame starts doing interviews from the back of a Sprinter van, attacking people publicly, saying things so wild, the internet started treating it like a slow-motion disaster. He dropped a diss track snippet called Cheap Teeth, featuring a completely unknown artist named Nicky Licky. The internet roasted it into oblivion, but Cam's reaction was the real finishing move. He didn't get mad, he just commented on Dame's Instagram saying he had secondhand embarrassment and suggested someone needed to do a medical case study on what happened to Dame's brain. When someone asked Cam on his podcast if he'd ever make peace with Dame Dash, Cam gave the most iconic answer possible. Yeah, absolutely. Meet me in the middle of the Red Sea and I'll be waiting on you. While headlines love to focus on the massive $200 million lawsuits and the failed buyout of Rockefeller shares, the reality is that the root of this epic fallout was never really about the money. At its core, it is a tragic lesson in what happens when clashing personalities and unchecked egos take over. When private issues are dragged onto the internet for likes and sympathy, and when deeply personal family boundaries are crossed, even a 25-year brotherhood built on the streets of Harlem can be shattered beyond repair. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about how all this played out. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth hip-hop breakdowns. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. I'll catch you next time.